A national security watchdog is now looking into the RCMP's decision to not investigate the deadly 2020 plane disaster over Iran. For more than 4 years, the families of those killed on Ukraine Airlines Flight 752 have called for a criminal probe. The downing of that plane by Iran's military killed 55 Canadians and 30 permanent residents. Former RCMP Commissioner Brenda Lucki said in 2021 she would not launch an investigation. At the time, she told families Ukraine was best suited to investigate since the disaster involved a Ukrainian plane. The CBC's Ashley Burke has covered this story extensively and joins us now with the latest. So, Ashley, walk us through this complaint and this investigation.
Victims' families, they want a criminal investigation. They have been calling for this since 2020. Over the past 4 years, this has been a demand we've seen front and center at protests, commemorative events, and meetings with Canadian officials. And they have been told no. And now some family members say they don't want to take no for an answer any longer. Javed Soleimani is one of those individuals. His wife died on Flight PS752, and he is the latest to file a complaint just this past June against the former commissioner of the RCMP, Brenda Lucki, for not launching this probe. Take a listen.
The reason that criminal investigation is very important for us because we need truth. Families need truth to get a closure, and without closure, families cannot move on for the rest of their lives.
He argues this is an alleged crime that police should be investigating. He says that Lucki's reasoning he calls baseless, flawed, and discriminatory. He says that he feels like if it wasn't Iranian Canadians that died in this crash, that it would have been handled differently from his perspective. And he's filed a complaint that's similar to another one that was filed in 2021 that's further along in the complaint process. This was filed by 3 other victims' families of Flight PS752, and the lawyer representing them says that the National Security and Intelligence Review Agency, which is an independent agency, it's a watchdog, investigated that complaint and is expected to make some sort of ruling soon about whether or not Lucki acted appropriately and if it was reasonable not to launch a criminal investigation into this case.
So, Ashley, give us some more of the background here. Why didn't the RCMP open a criminal investigation?
Well, Lucki wrote a letter in 2021 to the victims' families explaining her reasoning. I have a copy of that letter, and in it, it says that she felt that Ukraine would be best suited to lead a criminal investigation because it would have greater access or greater rights to access to the crash site, to the wreckage, to potentially gather evidence, to talk to witnesses. And she said that that's why they would be best suited. But the complainant's lawyer says that that didn't end up happening. Take a listen.
The Ukraine prosecution office itself refuted that and stated in an official statement that they had no access to the crash site and they have no evidence other than expert evidence of their own. So Ukraine prosecution website itself says that that's not true.
Now, victims' families say that they have more evidence they've collected since 2021, including reports from inside Iran that families gathered when they attended some of the court proceedings there that they believe are potentially tied to the regime, and other documents that they want to share with the RCMP that they believe warrants a criminal investigation. And as well, INSERA is expected to be looking into these complaints in particular. The RCMP says that it welcomes this investigation by INSERA and says that it has helped collect and preserve and share evidence from Canadians that it shared with Ukraine's investigators, and it will continue to do so if that investigation resumes. As you know, Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, so they have been dealing, and including their prosecutors, with investigating potential alleged war crimes, which some of the families believe has taken precedent at the moment, rather than investigating this. The RCMP also said that it has provided victim services to the families and that it investigated complaints of intimidation and harassment against the victims' families by those that they believe were tied to potentially Iran's proxies. The families believe that here in Canada, but would not say if any charges have ever been laid. But really what these victims' families want is a criminal investigation, and that has not happened.
Okay. Ashley, thanks so much for the latest. That's the CBC's Ashley Burke in Ottawa.